Good morning, Officer Patris.
Good morning, sir.
Before I swear you in, legal counsel, we seem to have Officer Patris, legal counsel, as what do you call this, representing him and is taking the seat. Do we have both individuals swearing in, or just the officer?
Just the witness.
Just the witness.
Right.
Okay, thank you.
Representatives, at this time may I make an objection?
Can I at least, and ma'am, please, if you want to make a statement, you may raise your hand and you will be recognized. At this time, I would like to ask our witness to raise your right hand. Just a moment, please. Okay. Do you swear or affirm under penalty of law that the testimony that you're about to give is the truth?
Yes, I do.
Thank you. You may put down your hand. The legal counsel.
Thank you, representatives. At this time, I'd just like to make an objection for the record. I'm sorry, can you hear me? Can you hear me? At this time, I'd just like to make an objection on the record that my client does oppose the subpoena that was served to him, specifically the provision citing this committee's authority to issue subpoenas and other legal issues therein. For that purpose, the client does not waive his privilege, but is willing to appear here today in order to assist the committee.
So noted.
Point of clarification, Mr. Chair.
Please state your point.
May the committee know who the individual this legal counsel is, so that we may be aware of who's representing Mr. Patris?
Before you respond, in addition to responding with your name and your title, I think the committee would also appreciate a response regarding the objection. Why is there an objection? And secondly, I wanted to find out, for the record, did you, on behalf of your client, submit a written objection to the committee?
Hello, committee. My name is Lynette Van Weingarten. I'm an assistant attorney general, and I'm also the legal counsel for the Department of Corrections and the Department of Public Safety. Our office has submitted several oppositions to the subpoenas. The legal counsel is aware of our issues with the legality of the subpoenas. At this point, I would like to raise an oral objection for the purposes of the record.
Thank you. Thank you, ma'am. I do know that we did receive for some law enforcement personnel. I don't recall that we did receive one for Officer Patris. And our legal counsel, I believe, has redrafted the subpoenas to address or correct the deficiencies that you raised. And I think those were resent out to the individuals. But I still appreciate having the witness come forward. I want to thank you, Officer Patris. Officer Patris, because we did not receive any investigative report or an internal report of the incident that we can read and be aware of, I would like to ask if you can, in your own plain words, describe your involvement regarding the DPS escort of Mr. Buckingham from the time you were you took part in the incident. Just in your own words, kind of your recollection of what happened either during the evening of August 3rd or if you were only involved during the early morning hours of August 4th. Just in your own words, what happened?
Yes, sir. My name is Officer Stanley Patris. My badge number is 552. I want to exercise my Fifth Amendment.
Representative Teptep.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I would like to note that Officer Patris, through the council, has duly objected to to his being present, and so we would like this body to consider those objections and proceed with question. And my first question to Officer Patris is that, do you understand why you are here?
Yes, sir.
You are here as a witness to allegations and potential violations, not for treason, but for neglect of duty, the possible violation of corruption, and possible violation of commission of a felony. Were you on official duty on or about August 3rd and August 4th?
Sir, I feel that I'm not prepared to answer any questions today. I would want to be prepared to meet up with a lawyer.
Thank you, Mr. Patris. Under objection, were you aware of any penal summons from the Office of Public Auditor to be served to Attorney General Mr. Buckingham?
Please answer the question.
Because Officer Patris has invoked his right to individual counsel, which he is afforded, at this time I will withdraw as his counsel as an Assistant Attorney General, and I believe it is his right to seek individual legal assistance, and I would hope that the council would appreciate his opportunity to speak with a lawyer before answering any more questions today. Thank you.
Representative Teptep, did you pose a question and was your question answered?
I'm waiting for the answer from the officer.
Can you restate your question, please?
Were you on official duty on or about August 3rd and 4th?
Yes, I do.
Is this a point of information? I recognize Representative Sablan.
Mr. Chairman, if we may, based on my understanding of the officer's objection and request for personal counsel, can we ask our legal counsel on to address that issue before we proceed?
John, the legal counsel has just, I think you heard her statement, she's withdrawing as legal counsel. The witness is not represented now. Can we ask questions, and is he without representation, will his testimony be admissible?
The testimony would be admissible. However, he does have the right to be represented by legal counsel of his choice, and it may be appropriate to continue his testimony either to the afternoon or tomorrow in order for him to obtain independent counsel to be present with him during his testimony.
John, the witness may also choose not to be represented and may freely agree to answer questions without representation, correct?
That is correct.
So before we go further, I want to ask Officer Patris if you are willing to provide testimony to this committee in the absence of an attorney to represent you, or are you do you wish to seek the assistance of a legal counsel before you answer anymore?
Yes, sir. I do want to seek for legal assistance of a counsel.
Aside from Ms. Wingarden?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Without objection from the members, I would like to excuse, or not excuse, but dismiss Officer Patris, and we will, I ask that you inform the chairman once you have secured legal representation so that we can reschedule your testimony.
Yes, sir.
Before I dismiss you, Representative Sablan.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Due to the nature and the timeline of this hearing, may we again ask legal counsel on a time frame that we can afford Officer Patris in seeking legal counsel. I think to issue an instruction that's open-ended might create a delay in the proceedings. And again, for the record, I believe, if I heard Assistant Legal Counsel Wingarden withdraw any further legal representation in regards to Officer Patris' participation in this hearing. Is that? I believe that's for the record. So if we may ask legal counsel on whether this committee is within its legal authority to set a specific deadline for Officer Patris to secure a legal counsel. I guess what I'm asking for is what is reasonable under the circumstances.
Yes, his testimony can be rescheduled for a reasonable time period to enable him to obtain counsel. You may ask him how long he thinks it will take for him to obtain an attorney. 2 days, 3 days, 1 day, I don't know. Well, it's up to the chairman to reschedule his testimony at the appropriate time.
continue, Representative Sablan.
Thank you, Chairman. So with that, I recommend that the chair issue a specific time frame, and we'll go with that.
Representative De La Cruz and Representative Guerrero.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. In line with Representative Sablan's statement, I also believe that it is incumbent upon you as the chair to set the time frame, reasonable time frame for Mr. Patris or Officer Patris to come back with his legal counsel. Saying that, I'm afraid that every other officer that is to come forth would be following the precedents of what is the status of Officer Patris. And I feel that we may be running around in circles here, a circus, if you will. Mr. Patris is a public servant. He is an officer of the law, and I really do not see a need for having legal counsels come in to talk on behalf of Officer Patris. He was sworn in to abide by the laws of this Commonwealth. And if he cannot speak for himself, then maybe he is not fit to be a law enforcement officer. Again, Mr. Chair, I'm afraid that the precedent that we set today would become the norm of other individuals that is to testify before this committee. This is a very, very serious concern that this committee is undergoing, and I don't believe that the committee should be made a mockery, if you will, because officers cannot speak on behalf of themselves. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Representative De La Cruz. Notwithstanding your concern, every witness is entitled to legal representation, and we will give our witness reasonable time to seek and secure his representation. Before I ask the witness a question, Representative Guerrero wanted to ask a question.
Yeah, I wanted to ask the question to legal counsel. Is there a timeline that is already set, or does the chairman make that decision, or do we vote on the decision as to what is the proper timeline for Mr. Patris to obtain counsel?
There is no established timeline. The chairman can dismiss the witness and call him back for a date in the future. The body as a whole can override the chairman's decision by majority vote and establish a different time.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. Officer Patris, how much time do you need? How much reasonable time do you need to secure a legal counsel? Will 3 days be enough for you?
I'll see and try and make it in 3 days.
I appreciate that, and I appreciate your efforts to cooperate.
Mr. Chairman.
Representative Tep-Tep.
With that, I would like to motion that we do provide for a timeline for Mr. Patris, 3 days.
Second.
I don't know if we need to secure a vote or entertain a motion for this legal counsel. I think the witness has already cooperated and offered that 3 days is reasonable. I was going to ask the members if there's no objection to allow the chair to work with the LAs, because the LAs are coordinating the scheduling of the testimonies, and to give the chair a chance to determine what day would be appropriate, so that it does not interfere with the existing schedule of testimonies. And so,
Sorry, Chairman.
no problem. Friday. So today's Tuesday. It is 3 days by Friday. You are hereby rescheduled or dismissed for today and asked to appear before this panel on Friday. Do we have a time? Go ahead.
We have a meeting in the morning, so anytime after.
So 1 o'clock is free?
Yes, sir.
So Friday at 1 o'clock?
Yes, sir.
Thank you very much. You are now dismissed until Friday at 1 p.m.